Hey guys, welcome back to class. For those that want to follow me on Twitter and know when I have new content coming out every month, for the most part, when I'm not busy, follow me at Twitter at brycon_raw, Instagram brycon_raw. Alright guys, thanks and cheers. So, hey guys, welcome back to class. It's been a while since I've made a recent video. I know that I said that I would probably do it every month and I didn't, so I'm so sorry about that. I've just been busy, have been managing a lot of things actually, and now I am going to have the opportunity to kind of work with Matt Artisan from The Attractive Man, and I'm going to North Carolina pretty soon. It's Memorial Day today, and Thursday I'm heading out there, or Friday morning. And it will be a different experience because I kind of want to know how that kind of charisma actually influences men to become better or for their own embetterment. So what I wanted to do was kind of go into this topic of NLP. Now, when I kind of got into the community, I started out with NLP. I started out with sales. I'm still doing sales. Now I'm kind of assisting in managing a company to do sales. And what I learned was, if you learn how to feel good about yourself and make other people feel good with you at the same time, you can do pretty much anything. Now, of course, people take advantage of this and do it for their own benefits. Unless it's like a win-win and sometimes win-win-win situation, it's not worth it. So basically, what I learned kind of going into this journey of self-development, I came across this introduction to Nero-Linguistic Programming. And basically what that means is that our thoughts and our language program our behaviors. And once we start doing this, we can live happier lives. We can connect better with people. We can have healthier lives. We can even, have a better outlook on life. So now the way to change this is just through habits and even teaching our own selves that our own thought patterns aren't as bad as they seem, right? So these are our fears, these are our beliefs. And the reason why so many people disagree on any kind of topic, it could be whether it's religion, politics, life, relationships, you have a different point of view. Now, this idea is called a schema. It's like a map. You have this idea of something, and through evidence or the situation and experiences that you're feeling, you can kind of conclude what's going to happen. Schemas was an idea that Jean Piaget, actually, I think I pronounced his name correctly, great psychologist who created this crazy idea of how humans develop into like stages, and it goes way beyond anything that we've ever seen, even with the Claire Graves model, spiral dynamics, Ken Wilber, and these are just psychologists that I've kind of followed and brought into a lot of my teachings, as well as the prior videos where I'm talking about shadow work and understanding your perspectives and the stages that you are developing in, child, adolescence, adults. And what we're looking at is these ideas that we always have. Now, the problem with these things is, I would say schemas, is that they distort, they generalize, and they delete information or necessary information that we might need to make a rational and smart decision. So it distorts everything. We start thinking about things that are out of proportion. We have distorted ideas about people because they act a certain way, and that's not always true. Now we start generalizing a lot of things, create stereotypes about people, or generalizing situations where we can probably find a different way to actually do this. And it deletes a lot as we start creating those as paradigms. So ways of thinking, you delete necessary information because you know that pro-choice or not, or if you have Republican and Democrats, or if you have this idea of pro-guns or not. And it's the little subtle nuances that you need to understand for you to make a rational decision. Not everything is black and white. That's why there's called gray area. All right, so basically, anything that constrains or has limitations is basically all in our heads. And I've talked about this, especially as we do affirmations, telling ourselves that we love ourselves, that you love me. This is exactly what we have to do. We have to be able to love ourselves as we're going through the motions of every day. Now, what you're looking at is an idea that this works, right? But for things that don't work, don't do them, So if this doesn't work for you, do not do it. Some people are a little bit more geared towards, I just need to feel this and I can do it. Some people are a little bit more technical and methodical about how they do things, so they have to follow criteria, right? Criticism, they need feedback. They need a different kind of outlook that kind of lays it out as a method. And everybody thinks differently, right? Because we're more geared to a side of a spectrum, because we have masculine and feminine understanding. One is more abstract, one is more logical. So we kind of fluctuate as we go through both sides of our understanding. Now, as we're looking at this, ways that we can kind of influence ourselves that we can do on a daily basis would be anchoring. So snap, right? Anytime that I am going to do a presentation in front of a group, in front of an audience, in front of a stage, I always extend my hands and I snap. And I know that this is my space. I can move within the space as far as I can, and as people are watching me, I feel comfortable around myself and other people. So I start doing that. It creates my own space. And as I said before, anything that has to do with our exertions physically, our thoughts, and our language, and our emotions, that is creating emotion through magnetic waves that we have, magnetism. And they did a study about this with yogurt, right? So they put positive, negative, and they measured the electric waves. Now they put another yogurt right next to a yogurt, and for some reason they had some weird connection, because yogurt's made out of like bacteria, it's like living or something like that. And they put milk in one of them, and as they did that, the other yogurt actually reacted. It pulsated some reading of electric waves. And they saw that they did that with wood, they did that with metal, and the outcome was always the same. And it was really interesting, because they said that's exactly how humans feel, because we can feel other people's emotions. So anytime that we're doing that, you want to make sure that you want to give the right kind of emotion out there. So going back to the idea of anchoring, so for example, you'll have Kevin Durant, a basketball player who is now in the semifinals with Golden State. And you'll see him kind of shimmy down on his shoulder and then shoot his free throw. Now this is his own anchor of calming down, staying in the moment, even though there's chaos within the whole vicinity, and he shoots. So the outcome that he wants to do is score, but the emotion that he wants is to be calm. So the anchor goes like that. Just like anytime that you would have someone call you and they have bad news, you have an anchor that anytime that they call is bad news. So anytime that you want to give a good effect to someone when you call them is to tell them they have good news. And that goes back and forth, and that's mostly just conditioning, right? So you have operant conditioning with external stimulus, with a neutral stimulus, and then classical conditioning with the reinforcement that you have. Finally, what we're looking at is the body language. And I'm trying to actually get certified within NLP and body language, so I can kind of just say, yes, I understand it. And what we're looking at is that people are more receptive to influence if you match their body language. Now, when I started out, I was very finite with how people would move their body language. Now that I've done this so much, I can kind of just see where they're going and I can just gauge. But mostly what I'm trying to do is just give the emotions that I'm trying to emanate out of them, instead of trying to micromanage every movement that I might see and it might seem like it's something else. So I will assume, and like I've said before, if you assume, most likely you're wrong. Anybody can attest to that, because I'm pretty sure everybody has an experience where they have assumed and have been wrong. So body language, even breathing, if you breathe subtly, it creates influence. It creates this, we are living together. Just like when you're smoking, we are basically dying together. We're sharing that life experience, we're sharing the breath. That's why in Eastern philosophy, you have a lot of Buddhists that say just focus on the breath. Now, basically, in so little words, we have 3 different types of people that understand the information that is given to them through Nero-Linguistic Programming. So there's visionary, auditorial, and tactile, feeling, and more about physical sensations. So anything that's basically visionary is like, oh, I see it. I see that. It looks like it could be this. So they will speak that to describe what they're seeing. Auditorial is more about the sound. So stop telling me that, please, or that sounds okay, right? So it's what it sounds to them, because they register information faster that way. Feeling and physical sensation, I feel great. I can't quite grasp it. I can't quite grab that thought. So kind of watch out for that, because people are trying to tell you exactly what they're trying to say. Now, finally, a way to get out of those thought patterns that we have is to question yourself. Now, this is through the meta model, which is who, what, when, where, how. And some people will say people hate them so much. And what you could do to your friend to kind of get them out of that thought pattern is be like, how is that possible? People like you all the time. Make them question it so they doubt it. Why would people want to hate you? Where do people hate you the most? Is it at home? Is it at basketball practice? And then he's like, you're right, people love me at practice. So they start to doubt that idea that people actually hate them. And it's almost like the affirmations that I talked to you about, which is reinforcing a thought in your head. This is more about deconstructing, and as I said before, there's different types of communication as people think differently, because some people think inductively, right? So it's more about one thought and then it expands, and then deductively, which is as it expands, it comes into one thought. So understanding that, you can kind of gauge where people are at as they're speaking to you. So I apologize for just being gone. Actually, life actually gets in the way, and I'm not perfect. I try to do as much as I can, and we all have struggles. So always understand that, because I am in this as much as you are in this as well. So I kind of wanted to do something different, because one of my viewers actually reached out to me and has been commenting on the videos, and I love that. I love that so much. So if this is something that you kind of relate to, feel free, comment. I love feedback. I know I put a lot of spirituality in a lot of my teachings. This is a little bit different, but I will kind of keep that going, as well as, still putting, that teaching that I've always have been consistent with, which is the relational teaching of men and women. So just, let me know, guys. And if this is something that you actually like, maybe even a thumbs up. All right, guys, so I'm out and about. What I just talked about. Peace.